evening. Deputy Lieutenant, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and fellow residents of Harlow. Good evening and welcome to this very significant event where we gather to acknowledge and reflect upon the profound symbolism of the Knife Angel, a remarkable sculpture created from over 100,000 seized blades. I'm Councillor Johnson, current Chair of Harlow District Council, and it's an honour to host you all today as we engage in this important dialogue about violence, its impact, and the imperative need for change in our society. The Knife Angel is not just the work of art it clearly is. It is a powerful testament to the urgent necessity of addressing violent behaviour in our society. This sculpture serves as both a catalyst for change and a poignant memorial to the lives lost to senseless acts of violence. Its towering presence reminds us of the consequences of our actions and compels us to strive for a better, safer community. I'd like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Melanie Hopwood, a passionate Harlow Council resident whose dedication and effort brought the Knife Angel to our town today. Melanie, your commitment to this cause exemplifies the spirit of our town, one that cares deeply about forging a safer and more harmonious future for all. Now, in a moment, I'm going to ask you to join me in welcoming Melanie to the stage formally. And before she shares her thoughts, I'd like to present her with a small gift on behalf of all of the town as a token of our appreciation. Melanie.
We did it. We actually did it. Just look at what this community has achieved. To be able to host the National Monument Against Violence and Aggression, the Knife Angel. Over 20 months of hard work, sweat, tears, and lots of emotions have gone into this. I would like to thank Rory Davis, Christine Howard, Faith Watson, Chris Maynard, who have worked tirelessly as well, and my wonderful children and grandchildren. I actually would like to thank every single one of you who has been involved with making this happen, however big or small. There is too many to name individually, as I would be here half the night. But over the month, I will be personally seeing you, but I can't thank you all enough. I have actually been involved with the Angel since before it was built, 2015. It took the main man, Alfie Bradley, 4 years to build. The Angel itself is made of 100,000 knives from over 43 police stations over the country. Lots of messages on these knives for lots of victims, including my son, Tommy Jones. Every knife on this Angel has its own story to tell. 2018, the Angel went on the roads around the country to different areas every month, raising awareness for knife and violent crime and hosting educational programmes. And now it is here in Harlow, Essex. And today we mark the 17th anniversary of Tommy Jones' passing. My boy, the day mine and my family and his friends' world fell apart. Our lives changed forever 16 years old. That's not right, is it? Nobody will know the impact it has on families until it has happened close to them. But we don't want that, do we? We don't want families to feel and go through what mine has and still is going through each day of our lives. We want to stop the violence and drop the weapons. And for that to happen, we need to come together and make a change. Help and support the community. Guide our children on the right direction. And when I say children, I mean everybody's children. Times are changing and we need to change them for the good, raising awareness as we go. The Angel will be here for 30 days and throughout that time there will be lots of activities going on and we encourage everyone to come and visit at some point and tell everyone else to do so too. This is a bittersweet for me and my family. It's devastating, the reasons why we stand here today, but I am happy for what we are going to achieve and what we are achieving. As I, Melanie Hopwood, the founder of the Tommy Jones Project, know we will change some mindsets and we are going to help families so they don't feel alone. And now I would still like to thank you all for coming and enjoy the rest of the ceremony, and I hope to see you throughout the month. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. I don't quite know how I'm going to follow Melanie because that was such an emotional and from the heart speech that sometimes words on paper don't come to life. But on behalf of the Lord Lieutenant and the Essex Lieutenancy, I am honoured to welcome this magnificent and highly emotive sculpture to Harlow. This powerful structure stands at a huge 27 feet and was created by the British Ironworks Centre using, as has previously been said, 100,000 knives voluntarily handed in, either used or intending to be used as weapons during knife amnesty programmes in the UK. That number alone acts as a powerful reminder of the sheer scale of the issue that we're looking at. But whilst we admire the creativity, let us not forget that the Angel symbolises a powerful call for social change, as well as acting as a national memorial for those victims of knife crime and their families, as we've just heard. Maybe the biggest challenge and a huge task to the Angel and its associated project is to educate young people and wider society in general that carrying a knife is not cool. It's not the way forward, especially as it seems to be reported on a daily basis now in a very, very matter-of-fact way. We need to make sure that we are not becoming desensitised to the absolute horrors of knife crime. And as ever, with so many issues, it starts and ends with education. Education of our young people, but education, we never stop learning as adults. Education of everybody. But as always, there's more questions than answers. And I don't usually quote older rock stars, but Jimi Hendrix once said a long time ago, and there's probably people in the audience saying, who the hell's Jimi Hendrix? But I quote, and this to me sums it up: when the power of love overcomes the love of power, then the world will know peace. And it sounds like it's aimed at world leaders, but weapons are used by individuals to wield power over others. So we must all of us, as individuals, as communities, towns, nations, keep focused on ending the horrors of knife crime. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie, for shedding that light on the profound significance of this sculpture. Next, I'd like to welcome Andrew Bramage, Harlow Council's Chief Executive, who's going to share his perspective on the impact of the Knife Angel on behalf of the Safer Harlow Partnership.
Thanks, Andrew. I'd just actually like to start by echoing Jackie's words, and the strength and power of what Melanie said, I think, will be the most important things you hear this evening. But as Andrew said, I'm Andrew Bramage. I'm the Chief Executive of Harlow Council, but also in that capacity I'm the Chair of the Safer Harlow Partnership. Safer Harlow Partnership brings together the Council, Essex Police, Essex Fire and Rescue Service, the NHS, Probation Service and local community and voluntary sector partners. The partnership exists to coordinate activity between all those organisations and implement a strategy for combating crime and disorder in our town. The partnership's priorities for this year are to tackle serious violence and violence against women and girls, domestic abuse, county-line drugs gangs and hate crime. The Safer Harlow Partnership also implements the Safer Streets Fund, which has recently brought increased investment in CCTV into Harlow, the use of drone technology, additional resources to tackle crime hotspots across the town, as well as contributing to bringing the Knife Angel to Harlow, along with funding from Harlow Council. The Knife Angel, as I'm sure you can see, is an amazing sculpture, and I came to see it last night on my way home from work, and I have to say it was a bit of a moment for me when I stood where you're standing and looked up at it, and it was looking back at me. It was really quite an emotional moment. But it's not just a work of art, it's a catalyst for change. It challenges us to examine the socio-economic factors, the lack of opportunities, the breakdown of community ties that all contribute to the rise of knife crime. We must unite as a society to empower our communities, provide support for at-risk youth, and create opportunities for a brighter future. So let's take inspiration from this sculpture to make a difference for our town. And the Safer Harlow Partnership will play its role within that. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew, for that insight and encouragement and
Every time I walk out of the house, put on another face just to blend. Oh, I'd always knew that I was going to cry again. I tell you that I'm whole, but I'm still healing. I tell you that I'm happy, but I'm grieving. Thought I was a fighter, I'm still in the fire. 'Cause if I'm being honest, I'm not being honest. I give you roses, just hoping you don't see the weeds in my garden. If I'm being honest, I'm at my darkest. I'm sitting here waiting and praying for someone to show me what love is. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. Every time I pass the hardest part, there was another ghost just to pull me from the dark. I thought it was over. God, let this be over. 'Cause if I'm being honest, I'm not being honest. I'll give you roses, just hoping you don't see the weeds in my garden. If I'm being honest, I'm at my darkest. I'm sitting here waiting and praying for someone to show me what love is. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. I tell you that I'm whole, but I'm still healing. I tell you that I'm happy, but I'm grieving. Thought I was a fighter, I'm still in the fire. 'Cause if I'm being honest, I'm not being honest. I'll give you roses, just hoping you don't see the are always emotional after that.
Wow. Thank you, Delicia, for that very moving performance, and believe me, you have nothing to apologise for. That was incredible. I'd now like to welcome to the stage Councillor Dan Swords, the leader of Harlow Council, who's going to share some thoughts on the significance of this occasion. Dan.
Deputy Lieutenant, guests, ladies and gentlemen, Melanie. Today we find ourselves gathered here in the presence of something truly extraordinary. We stand in the shadow of Knife Angel, a monument that transcends the realms of art and sculpture. This remarkable creation serves as a stark and poignant testament to the devastating toll of knife crime in our community. Yet this is no ordinary, immobile sculpture. It speaks to us with profound silence. As we gaze upon the glinting blades that compose this monument, we are confronted with the lives cut short, the dreams shattered, and the families forever scarred by the brutal spectre of knife violence. It is a solemn reminder of the individuals who became victims of senseless acts and the communities left grieving in their wake. This sculpture, standing resolute before us today, carries a message that we simply cannot afford to overlook. Just last week, our town woke to the news of another tragic and fatal knife attack. Another life lost, and several more forever altered. And whilst the police acted swiftly and charges have been brought against the perpetrator, that serves no true justice for the family, the friends, loved ones, or our town as a whole. The message of Knife Angel is unambiguous. We must take decisive action. We must act to prevent further bloodshed on our streets. We must act to support the victims and their families, extending to them the solace and assistance they so desperately need. We must act to educate our town about the perils of knife violence, to empower our youth with knowledge, and to furnish them with alternatives to violence. The Knife Angel is more than a mere work of art. It is a call to arms. It implores us to build a future where peace and compassion triumph over fear and aggression. It beckons us to create a future for Harlow, where our young people can thrive without resorting to violence, where hope and opportunity replace desperation and despair. And as we stand in the shadow of this powerful symbol, let us pledge ourselves to the cause it embodies. Let us unite to rid our streets of the haunting spectre of knife crime. Let us stand by those who have suffered and continue to suffer. And let us educate our town about the harrowing consequences of violence. Though the Knife Angel may be silent, its message reverberates mightily within our hearts. It summons an action, a plea for transformation, and a reminder that together we possess the power to shape a safer, more compassionate Harlow. Let us heed this call. Let us honour the memory to those we have lost. And let us build a future where the enduring legacy is one of peace and compassion.
Thank you, Dan, for those truly insightful words. I think on these occasions, it's important that politicians come together from both sides, from all sides. And so I'd like to welcome next to the stage Councillor Chris Vince, the leader of the opposition on Harlow Council, who's also going to offer his perspective. Chris.
Thank you everyone that's come out to attend this event today, and particular thank you to Mel for organising this Knife Angel here in Harlow. Much like others, I sneakily came down here yesterday to take a look at this sculpture, and I felt overwhelmed by the power of this particular piece of artwork, which as many people have said is far more than a piece of artwork. And if anyone that knows me will know I'm very rarely speechless, but I was absolutely speechless looking up at this monument yesterday. The Knife Angel signifies a grave issue we face today, knife crime. And as has been alluded to by the previous speaker, only recently we've seen another tragic loss here in Harlow. But the statistics are staggering, with thousands of lives lost or irreversibly changed every day due to knife violence. And it is incumbent on us, all of us, to understand the root causes, to address them and work towards a safer society where our youth can grow up without the constant threat of knives. Thank you, and thank you, Mel.
Thank you, Chris, for those thoughtful observations. I'm now going to ask Paula Pite to come to the stage, who's going to share a heartfelt poem that speaks to the significance of this moment. Paula.
Hi everyone, my name's Paula. Myself and Mel, oh God, how does it do this? Right, I'm good. Have been friends for over 25 years. We have been a big part of each other's lives and families. When we lost Tommy 17 years ago, I wrote a poem for him, which Mel later had engraved on the back of his headstone. Mel has invited me here this evening to read that poem to you. I have altered some of the wording to tie in with Tommy's 17th anniversary and the arrival of the Knife Angel. For Tommy, baby lemon, baby pink, baby blue. These are the colours that remind us of you. We remember your smile, your humour, your handsome face. Now we lay flowers at your resting place. So many friends and family came to say goodbye to you, Tommy Jones, 16, too young to die. Harlow's top boy, you were respected and loved, still miss so much now, our angel up above. 17 years later, we still ask ourselves why you were taken, why we had to say goodbye. Now the Knife Angel is here in honour of you and other victims of knife crime that have lost their lives too. Tommy George Jones, 9th of the 12th, 89, to the 1st to 9th, 06, forever young, forever loved, forever missed. But rest in peace, Tommy.
Thank you, Paula, for that. I'd also like to welcome Esther Hopwood, who's also going to share some words. Esther.
Knife crime should be a thing of the past. Let's stamp it out and let's do it fast. Lives are lives and they should be respected. Lives are precious and long should they last. Why would you choose to carry a knife? Why would you gamble with someone's life? It's a premeditated and pointless crime to save yourself from a whole lot of strife. It's not big and it's definitely not clever. It won't make you feel better, I promise you never. Let's stop these crime stats getting higher. Let's do this now, hell for leather. This Knife Angel stands here, 27 foot tall, caught in the light, it's like some precious jewel. A national monument against violence and aggression, each and every blade some sort of confession. To all those who have been affected by knife crime one way or another, be it a loved one, a friend, a sister or brother. Don't give up, keep doing what you're doing, let's fight this together. A special prayer to those that were the victim's mother.
Thank you, Esther, for those very moving words. I'd like next to invite Reverend Martin Harris, the Reverend at St Paul's, but also the Area Dean and my Civic Chaplain, to offer a prayer and a reflection to guide our thoughts as we stand here before the Knife Angel.
Deputy Lieutenant, ladies and gentlemen, Mel. In the Christmas story, an angel appears to Mary to announce to her the gift of the Son Jesus. In the Easter story, it is an angel that meets the women at the tomb of Jesus to announce that he has risen from the dead. Angels bring hope with a capital H. Hope is not optimism. There was no optimism at the tomb on that first Easter morning. Hope is not a mere emotion. Sometimes it's not an emotion at all. Bringing change can be costly. We've heard something of your cost over these last years. There'll be moments of saying, I can't go on. Hope is not positivity. President Trump likes the idea of the power of positive thinking, but sometimes we need to ask hard questions when things go wrong. Hope is the opposite of despair. But perhaps we can only discover hope when we have met despair. There is no buying hope on the cheap. Hope looks into the abyss and somehow or somewhere finds strength to go on. Hope only exists when things are hopeless. In the Jewish scriptures, the psalmist says that God is near to the brokenhearted. And God is on the side of all who are poor, whether that be in body, mind, or spirit. And when God wants to bring change to the world, he sends the humble, the meek, the grieving, the mourners, the justice hungry. True change starts at grassroots with us. Hope is a decision. It is the decision to work for a better future. The promise of the Bible is that you can know and we can know that God is with us in this, that God has conquered even death, for all represented here. And God, who has conquered death, can help us conquer in the struggles and strains. Many of us have made that decision of hope. Mel, your example speaks reams in that. May the message of the Knife Angel bring ever increasing and deepening hope. The Knife Angel Prayer. Loving God, you call us to turn our swords into plowshares and our spears into pruning hooks. Begin your work of transformation in all whose lives are overshadowed by knife crime, replacing violence with peace, grief with consolation, fear with your perfect love. Where communities are broken, send your Holy Spirit to heal and show us how we can join in your great work of reconciliation as you mend and restore all things through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Martin, for that reflection and for the Knife Angel prayer. And now we have a performance piece by David Walcott and Marnie James, which I hope will further elevate our contemplation this evening. David and Marnie.
Hello everyone, my name is David and I'm so grateful to be here tonight to share this poem with you all and to see my own community supporting the movement against violence and engaging with incredible and important art over the next month. read an article that was titled "The UK's Most Dangerous Places to Live." Harlow was placed second in Essex. This was unfortunately not a surprise to me. But the one thing that stuck with me really put things into perspective. So they're calling them the UK's most dangerous places to live. These are the same places where people have no more left to give. The same places where deals are being sealed with knives, where mothers spend days with tears behind their eyes, where kids are having kids and kids are taking lives. You see, this poem is just an echo of all those cries. Because no one seems to care until it's been televised. And the people in power, they should be done for joint enterprise. And don't act surprised when they're breaking their own rules whilst we're just trying to survive. And you see, it wasn't always this tough. We had to develop this. And then we tried to seek help and they gave us underfunded benefits. So now, we've got kids trying to earn and smoke the green. They're being called environmentalists. I think they're just trying their best to fit into a world where we're told to build a future. But how can we build anything if you have the nails whilst we hold the hammer? And no, I won't stammer because I'm sick of kids being mistreated and misunderstood in schools. They're being forced to build skin that's thicker than the mould on their walls inside their own homes. And if it's not in their homes, then it's deep inside their phones. Social media corrupting young brains. They're broadcasting the fire whilst we live in the flames. There is so much more to this town than just violence and pain. And here tonight, we are living proof of that change. 100,000 knives to represent 100,000 more lives. You see, I was born and raised council estate living. When they push you to your limits, you just try not to give in. You're told not to run before you can walk, but either way, you'll end up tripping. Trust me, I've been there, and even I struggle to fit in. All my life, I thought my life had been like a fairy tale from a book. Let's stop the fighting, and instead of throwing, let's learn how to write a hook. UK's most dangerous places to live. They could never understand the path I took. Growing up, looking over my shoulder just to get a better look. Maybe our lives aren't supposed to be like a fairy tale from a book. So I suggest we write a better world. Create a town with better stories to tell. Change lives, put down the knives, and finally bring the peace back to our mothers' eyes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David and Marley, for that very different but very beautiful rendition. Before we close tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I want to leave you with a few final thoughts. As we stand in the presence of this knife angel, let us all commit, let us jointly take a pledge to preventing further tragedies, supporting those affected by knife crime, and educating our youth about the devastating consequences of violence. Together, we can transform our society into a place where the knife angel is not just a reminder of the past, but a symbol of hope for a safer and more compassionate future. The knife angel calls us to take action, to stand against violence, and to work together towards a brighter future. Let us heed its message and unite in our efforts to create a world where the pain it represents is nothing but a distant memory. And to play us out, I'd like to invite Delicia back to the stage one more time.
Oh, hello again. Can't promise that I won't cry again, but hey ho, here we are. Let's go. Oh, thinking about our younger years. It was only you and me. We were young, wild and free. Now nothing can take you away from me. We've been down that too hard to see. You're in heaven. Oh, once in your life you find someone who will turn your world around, bring you up when you're feeling down. Now nothing can change what you mean to me. There's a lot that I could say, but just hold me now, and your love will light the way. Baby, you're all that I want. When you're lying here in my arms, I'm finding it hard to believe we're in heaven, and love is all that I need. And I found it there in your heart. It isn't too hard to see. You're in heaven. I've waited for so long for something to arrive, for love to come along. Now our dreams are coming true. Through the good times and the bad, oh, I'll be standing there by you. I'm finding it hard to believe you're in heaven. Right, I have actually wrote a little speech, which I wasn't gonna, but I did. So I'm gonna read it now. Hi, some of you may know me, but to those of you that don't, I'm Delisha, and today marks the 17th anniversary of my brother Tommy Jones's death. He was stabbed and killed when I was 5 years old. He was only 16 at the time. He was still a child. I may not remember him the way that everyone else does. Honestly, I only have 2 of my own memories with him. But what I do remember is the pain, the grief and the torture that my family had to go through. Our childhoods ripped from us because a coward decided to carry a knife that night. I remember looking at my mum wondering what was wrong. And as I got older, I started to realise that he had not just murdered my brother, he stole my mum from me too. Parts of my mum left with Tommy that night, and if I'm honest, none of my family have been the same since. My brother being killed has left what I can only describe as a hole in this family. We all, his family and friends, have kept Tommy's name alive. We have always told Tommy's story, and his name is yet to be mentioned in rooms we haven't even dreamed of yet. Now, I didn't just write this to talk about my brother. I wrote this to remind you all that this is a fight against knife crime. It's up to us to be good role models for the up-and-coming generations. Teach your children that no matter what, carrying a knife is never the right answer. It will only ever get you in trouble or get you killed. Me and my manager, MC Divine, are hosting an open mic afternoon on the 9th of September, 12 till 3 p.m, ages 4 to 18. We welcome all talents, and if your kids would like to perform, bring them down. All we want to do is show the youths that there is more to life than carrying a knife. And I hope that you can join us in all the other fun stuff we have going on throughout the month. It's about time Harlow has come together and done something for the community, because that is what we are, is a community. I want to thank everyone so much for coming out and paying your respects to this beautiful monument. I'm proud to be part of Harlow hosting the Knife Angel 2023 and the Tommy Jones project. Thank you.
Well, Delisha, thank you so much for wrapping us up there with that performance and those words that clearly came straight from the heart. I think in what you said there, you've encapsulated everything about what the Knife Angel is about and what this evening has been about. So I'd like to thank all of our speakers, all of our performers for making this night possible. Could you all please thank them once again? And I'd like to thank each and every one of you, the Harlow community that has come out tonight to support this event. As has been mentioned this evening, this Knife Angel will be here for the whole month. There will be plenty more events. Please do come down. Please do tell your friends and families, your neighbours, and get them to come down and see this awe-inspiring monument, but also understand the message that it gives. And let's stop the violence and get rid of the knives. Thank you all for attending. Have a lovely rest of the evening and a safe journey home.